the bad thing about offers, man, is that a lot of them just look copy pasted as the same shit. There's one thing that I added to, or I recommend everyone do, and it's really helpful. I wrote about this. So it's like, let's say there's two people and they're trying to guide the same person to a diamond that's on the other end of the room, but the room is dark. Person number one, which is your competition, they say, just hold my hand and trust me, we'll get to the diamond. That's like saying, there's a promise, but trust me, we're going to get there. Your next question is, but how? It's hard. Whereas you, instead, what you do is you bring a flashlight with you and you turn the light on and you show them the way. I feel that showing them the way in any offer is crucial, and it's so useful to have. And I do that with checkpoints. So let's say you are in a 3-month program. You could say, month one, we're going to do this. And we know this step is done. Actually, I'm going to walk you through mine, right? So it's like, first off, we're going to craft your offer. That's going to take us 1 or 2 weeks. We know it's validated when this many people buy. Second of all, we're going to get it to 20K, just 20K. We're going to cash flow this to 20K. And that's how we know we end up on stage 3, which is we work for 20K months. The offer is add 20K a month, right? But now that is like the light. You show people the way. In business or in fitness, it would be first you would lose 5 pounds, and then we'll know it's possible. We'll know some things about your routine and stuff. Then we're going to keep doing that, but we're going to step it up and we're going to lose 20. And in the end, you're going to lose 25. So there's a path. And I feel like when people offer things, they think of them as just like a puzzle piece or something that it's a sentence that is like magical. But it's never that way. We covered offers are not solids or liquids. They take the shape of the container they're in. But I feel like lighting that flashlight and making people see the path is so crucial to any offer.
Maybe we should, I feel like this makes me want to go sit down and just read like 2 or 3 books on like the history of universities. Because I feel like us in the alternative, you'd call it like the alternative education space. Like it's alternative education. It's a non-traditional, non-university education, right? I feel like we're figuring stuff out that like it already exists in traditional education, right? Like that right there is such a concept that like us in the coaching space and course space, like most 99.9% of people don't know that. That's great advice. Then you go to like university and I'm like, when you go sign up for a major, they give you a syllabus, they give you your major checklist, and your major checklist has all of the courses you're going to take for freshman year, sophomore year, junior year, senior year. It says these are examples of what your schedule might look like. You might get these internships. These are all the companies you could get. Like this is your roadmap. And at the end, this is your average salary. They literally flashlight you there with checklists for your entire 4 years at the university. By the way, give me $300,000 and I know you're broke, but we're also going to give you debt that you can't bankrupt on. like you want to talk about, that's like the evolution of the education industry is like, I feel like they have it so figured out. It's like, how can we learn from the history of universities and apply that to alternative education? Like that was one of them, right? Like the whole syllabus, it's like a syllabus.
I have an unethical question to make. So can you because you're American, can you just like make your company as the same level as a university? Like you set up like you buy fake land or some shit and then it's like people can default on payments.
You have to become legally accredited. So it's called an accredited university. So like when you apply for a job, it's like you have to have a degree from accredited university. It's basically you have to like pass the regulation to be a university.
Well, that is a shame.
Damn, but that the workaround now, this is why alternative education is great. And I want you to get someone like this, or one of us needs to get a client in this space, is the coding space. Because the coding space is one of those spaces that's evolved past university. Like you can get out of high school and go to a coding boot camp, learn how to code, and then go get a job at fucking like Netflix. I know it's not that simple, but you actually technically could. Like it's one of those spaces that's really heavily based on how good you are and not just where you went to school. And you could just go to a coding bootcamp. Like imagine you could go to the Lake St. Cash University and just like go get a job at Goldman Sachs. Like, you know what I mean? It's kind of like that, right? Whereas I feel like the whole software space has kind of already hit that. I'm wondering if these other spaces will ever hit that.
Like with marketing, like if you could qualify marketers.
That's what I'm saying. Like, why can't you just go to the Birdhouse University and then go get a job at Ogilvy, the fucking advertising agency? Like, in theory, you could as like a graphic designer. That's another space that's hit it. But you know, most of the business space, you have to have a business degree, which is beyond me because the business degrees I know are not very good outside of like the finance degree, which is actually pretty valuable.
Yeah, I bet some finance bros that do well. Isn't Colino Wizard a finance guy? I think he studied finance.
I think so. The finance major is one of the finance and accounting are those two majors where I know at my school at UMass they treated them differently because they are very technical. It's not just like I'm a marketing major is so useless. Like you go to class, like write some shit and draw some pictures. Like it's like,
and when people ask you a question, you just answer with, "But it depends," and that is like, that's how it answers. You got an A plus.
But I don't know though.
Yeah, I don't know though. Podcast. Did you like the podcast with Quinn? Did you enjoy that one?
Quinn, if you're watching this, like
of course he's watching.
He puts so much more effort into his intro for his podcast than the other ones because I feel like that was the best intro of any podcast. The thumbnail is sick. The intro is sick. I'm like, I see you. You know he did. I did the same thing.
Of course. I mean,
it's so good, guys. Like, Quinn's an absolute. He's like such an artist.
Yeah, it was good. I enjoyed that one. Okay, let's go with this one. I want to talk about sticking to a cool theme, bro. Have you seen this video? So I'm gonna role play it for you, and you're gonna tell me if you see it. The average penis size in America is 5 inches. You know what the average penis size in my company is? 8.3. Have you seen that YouTube short?
I do. Yeah, that video.
Bro. Yeah, it's the best video ever. But it's like that's kind of this guy's theme. He does that kind of stuff. So he has another video where he's like, a pregnant woman wanted my seat at the bus, and I gave it to her for $62,350. And then he's like, you gotta hustle your way out of poverty, whatever. Like that's some shit. Anyway, he does that kind of talks, right? And that's his theme, and it's crushing. There's this guy Rob as well. He does his theme where he's like, he's a freelancer coach. There's like the beginner freelancer. He tries to give advice, and then there's like the pro freelancer, and then he gives him advice. And at the beginning, I guess Alex Hormuzzi did the talking head videos. Not everybody does talking head videos, but I find a lot of value in finding themes in your content that you're really good at that you can stick to. So I'll give you an example for mine. I do the other way. I went to the barista and I wanted a coffee. And when I ordered my coffee, she said, would you like to pay with cash or card? And I said, I don't have either. But one time I had a post that got 1,000 likes. She's like, but sir, likes in cash. So I have like this way of saying likes in cash with stupid ass stories, but people like them. So it's kind of this theme that's going on. The guy has the penis size stick. Rob has the freelancer pro versus freelancer beginner advice. And I think that you listening, if you find one style that hits, that is kind of a good reason to not stop, because then because it's on your record and it's original, like it can't be in anybody else's record. Like we said, we're big fans of the Kanye clip on this pod, but big thing, have a theme that only you can do and stick to it, because it's just something that nobody can copy from you, or if they can, it's gotta look like a copy, which actually amplifies your own message. Anyway, find a theme you can stick to, and I think that is going to make you a lot of money.
Totally agree. That's a principle that we apply with our clients a lot. It's like, you know, they don't always come to us with a theme, and part of our challenge is finding them the theme and finding them something to stick to and then sticking to it. So like that's like half the battle, is finding that theme to stick with. And then because once you have the theme, your life becomes a lot easier. You know exactly what kind of content to create. Like for you, it's like, but like saying cash is like, it's like direction, right? You sit down to write content for the week. It's like, how can I say like saying cash in a club?
Again,
it's very simple. Like if you didn't have that, it'd be much harder to create content. It's like, you know, your ICP, you know, your theme, you know, the jokes that you make, you know, like, you know what I mean? It becomes much easier to create content when you have themes and direction and ICPs and stuff like that.
It doesn't even have to be a complex thing. Eddie has watermelons. He'll post anything about watermelon.
Oh yeah, and he added the professional life enjoyer recently as well.
That is Michael Porfirio, bro. Do you know Michael Porfirio?
No.
Michael Porfirio is the greatest X or Twitter. No, he's not X. I'm disrespecting him. I'm sorry. It's the greatest Twitter poster of all time. He disappeared in like 2020, but he has the best tweet ever. Like he's all about enjoying life, having a lot of fun. He has a tweet where he says, he's just a very simple guy. He has a very fresh style. He's like, we enter the kitchen and our mom asks us, would you like some fish soup? Me, yes. My brother, yes. My father, yes. Then she asks us, did you see what happened in the news? Me, no. My brother, no. My father, no. Then she asked, would you like some more fish soup? Me, yes. My brother, yes. My father, yes. There's a lesson in there. So they just like tweets like that for like non-stop fucking 7 years, and they were all great. Michael Porfirio, he has a empty private account, not there anymore. I have a swipe file of it. I'm gonna send it to you. It is the greatest thing you would have ever seen. Homage to the G.
I think we should push it back to what we started with too, because I think the intro will definitely include this. It's becoming the theme of this pod is like lessons we've learned from people that are bigger than us. We name drop so many. This is probably the most name drops we've ever done in a podcast. But I want to talk about like what I talked about with Layla, and then wrap it up with something I learned from Gary Vee. And I think this will probably impact more of the higher level listeners. So if you're a lower level listener, click off. Reverse psychology. You're staying?
You know how on YouTube you could see like the most replayed parts of the video? This is going to be the most replayed part of this video.
So yeah, and when I spoke to Layla, the question I had asked was, how do you create a friendly team culture, especially if you're like a small business and you only have 3, 4, 5 people, you're all similar ages. Like, how do you create a friendly culture while still maintaining like being hardcore mission driven KPIs, etc. And something she said that I took away was interesting. It was the bond you have with teammates is deeper than most bonds you'll ever have with friends. And I thought that was interesting, is because like a teammate is someone that you share a common goal with. So like for you, I Like Saying Cash, for example, it's like if you have a teammate who genuinely is trying to push that Like Saying Cash mission with you, your bond might be deeper than a bond you'll ever have with a friend. And it's interesting. It's like you can hit the mission driven side of it by having that common goal and that common mission, and you'll still be friendly because that bond will be so much deeper because they're a teammate. And the flip side is I was watching a Gary Vee video and he was saying how it was a keynote. And it's funny, and I come back to Gary Vee like 3 times a year where I'll like binge his content and then I'll stop and then I'll binge it again because a lot of it's gold. But something he said was as a CEO, it's like your employees don't work for you. It's like you work for them. I thought that was interesting as well. And it was like, it's an interesting way to treat your company culture and your missions. It's like, how can you serve your team, not how can your team serve you? It's interesting. It's like a riddle.
I would have like 1 month ago I'd been like, fuck yeah, Marcus. Right now it's like, fuck no.
JK the CMO. JK the CMO is like, this is Ryan's job.
Yeah, 100%.
For the listeners that don't know, JK has a CEO for his company, so he's on pure like content mode.
yeah. He's in business. I'm in show business. Essentially, that's how we set up the.
This is like this is a conversation too. Is like for me, one thing I always feel like I'm missing as a business partner. I'm just like I have to wear every hat. Some days I'm a COO, some days I'm a CEO, some days I have to be the CMO, someday I'm just pure salesman. You know what I mean? Like you have to put on all the different hats, and like sometimes I do wish I had a business partner that could just like do it, do the other stuff.
Do you think that now that you're gonna be back in Eastern time, are you gonna be more productive or less productive? Because right now you're in Bali.
You know what's funny is I used to think, well, I think it was dependent on the season, but in my current season, I think my theory is that I'll be more productive on Eastern time because I'm doing more CEO and COO work than I am like creative and marketing. I think